What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today is October the 30th. I want to give you a quick pre-market update, go over some of the hot movers and what big money is doing today on this fun Wednesday morning. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off with data points, you do have GDP coming out in roughly an hour and a half. Forecast right now is 3.3, so we'll wait and see how that does play out. But this whole week has a lot of big data points. Yesterday's JOLTS numbers weren't necessarily the best, but needless to say, I think a lot of companies unveiling their earnings and having kick-ass results is offsetting some of that negative data, if that makes sense. Currently, futures are somewhat green, so NASDAQ is up 0.24, S&P up 0.15, and Dow is down 0.18%. Fear and greed index, though, interestingly enough, is going down slightly. So it is still under the greed category, though, so meaning people's appetite for risk should be on the table. But it has been pulling back, so I don't know if that is being derived from the actual true data that's been coming out or not. But needless to say, we'll just have to wait and see. A lot of big companies unveiling their earnings yesterday after hours, so some of which I'm going to talk on, and then even after hours today, a lot of big names. So Microsoft, Meta, Coinbase, Robinhood. So it's going to be a crazy fun ride. Starting off with Sofi, it is up slightly, 0.76%. No news, no SEC filings as of today, which is kind of makes sense, of course. You have a lot of good analyst ratings starting to come out, so I'll go into a little bit more detail during my dedicated Sofi video, but it looks like there is a recovery. And can you blame investors for not wanting to buy Sofi based on their phenomenal earnings? Not really, but at the same time, those shorts already are increasing pre-market, 609,000 shares. So they're wanting to be fairly active today, wanting to suppress Sofi clearly. 17.03% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 178.15 million shares. So it is interesting. You don't really see shorts this active pre-market. But again, maybe given the circumstances, they want to hit hard and fast and try to bring it down. Something possibly to consider. Right now with it, $10.48. It is trading between this S1 and the pivot, so $10.39 is going to be a strong support, and then $10.83 is going to be the next strong resistance / target. So it did bounce off of this pivot point yesterday. And actually, in fact, it kind of bounced off of all the whole spectrum. So the S3 to the pivot yesterday. So it was a wild ride. Lucky to those investors that did catch the bottom, essentially. Regrettably, I didn't, but it is what it is. I think I got in at 10:30 or 10:32. I'm happy with that, especially given the results once again. But moving on. So Google, Alphabet, and phenomenal earnings. So not only did they have a double beat based on just the pure metrics that people care about, so earnings per share and revenue, can you believe that they made $2.05 billion more than what the estimate of 88.27? That's insanity. But over and above that, though, they also did give good future guidance. So this is one of the reasons why, like I said, is kind of offsetting the negative data that the market is being a little bit forgiving right now. This is a quick overview of just some stuff that came out from their earnings, and this was posted by Brad, so make sure you pop over there and give him a follow. So Stock Market Nerd, a lot of good information such as this. Of course, it's not heavily shorted whatsoever, so I'm not even going to bring that up, and it's gone up so much so fast, it's above all the key fib levels. So moving on to AMD. So this one is another interesting example. It is down 8.27%. And it's a good example on how the market is relentless, because it actually did have fairly good earnings. It just wasn't to the same magnitude that the investors were really anticipating. That's just my takeaway, of course, but I am going to be buying AMD today. Like, why the hell not? I'm going to take a deal when I see it. Some people might disagree with me on that. Shorts, though, clearly do disagree with me on that, because they are increasing 1.79 million shares already pre-market. 3.21% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 51.54 million shares. So yeah, shorts, this isn't a squeeze play just for transparency purposes, but shorts look like they want to start increasing their position slightly. Looks like the highest it's kind of been over the last 1 year was 3.39%. So very close to where it is now. So shorts might be increasing to kind of that level, but with it at 153 and change, it is trading between this S1 and the pivot. So 152 will be a strong support that you'll want to watch for it to hold. Flip side, 155 is going to be the next strong resistance / target. Given just somewhat the optimism in the broader market associated to AI plays, I could see this being bought up, not to where it was like back in the 160s, but I could see it at least getting to this pivot point right here of 155. But once again, my crystal ball could be sometimes wrong. Moving on, NIO cannot catch a break ever. And so it is pulling down slightly, and that is because of this right here. So European tariffs are going to be kicking in on the 31st. So it looks like China and the EU didn't come to a agreement. So it looks like the up to 45.3% is the tariffs that's going to be placed on Chinese EVs. So not all that great. Shorts though are returning. So this is why I like to analyze this information for this very purpose, because shorts returning 1.68 million shares pre-market, and yet it's still down. That goes to show that larger entities are selling. It's just the unfortunate truth, right? Because in case you don't know, shorts returning, they're adding buying pressure. So they're buying back their shares. So obviously that means big entities are selling for whatever reason, but 14.17% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 189.2 million shares overall are being shorted. Utilization 90.84%. And then short score, so the higher the number, the higher the likelihood of a squeeze happening, is 74.87%. Right now with it at 549, it is trading between these 2 points. So it's R2 and R3. So 558 will be a strong resistance / target, and then 543 will be a strong support. Smack dab pretty much right in the middle. You do also have that 50-day moving average at 539, and then that 200-day moving average, I believe it's at 520. So technicals are still somewhat okay as long as it does stay above that 539. If it does pull below that, then yeah, NIO regrettably will start to have a more of a technical breakdown as well. So something to keep in mind. And then Snapchat is up quite a lot because of their earnings. So triple beat for the most part. So good future guidance and good earnings per share, revenue. I myself, I don't know why, maybe just because of my age, I'm not a fan of Snapchat. I'm not their target market, I don't believe. So I just generally don't like it, and I've actually shorted their earnings over the last couple times, made a lot of good money. And interesting point, this is kind of the earnings I missed just because whatever. But probably I would have shorted it as well, because I just generally don't like Snapchat, and I just see their business dying. There's a lot better platforms out there. But aside from that, shorts are returning 330,000 shares, so somewhat validating the green day today. 7.17% of the free float is being shorted, works to be 75.94 million shares. Shorts, you could tell, are and were doubtful because they were increasing leading into their earnings. So it went from around 5.17% to the peak of 7.31%. So like I said, shorts were anticipating another miss from their earnings, but it looks like they got duped as well. But right now with it sitting at $12, it is sitting between this R2 and this R3. So 1173 will be a strong support, followed by 1108. I don't see this R1 being touched whatsoever. 1278 is going to be the next strong resistance / target. In my opinion, I think it's just going to gravitate towards this R2. I don't know if that's just because I don't like Snapchat or not, but logically I can't see that much buyers really willing to get into Snapchat because of those earnings. Yes, they were good, nothing to really signify for it to be where it is now. So I think it's just going to have a minor pullback to this R2, but once again, my crystal ball could be wrong. So let me know your thoughts. What other stocks are you watching today and why? So throw some tickers in the description below. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. Take advantage of this because it gives you 8 free shares, and each share is valued up to $2,000. Free is amazing, free is the best, so take advantage of that. And then also I did launch memberships. So if you want buy signals on stocks and options, or if you just want to support the channel, there's that for you as well. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.